What we've got today is the last of the apple wine that I made. And as you can see, I always like to show everyone, if you could see down in there, I'm over 2/3 full, but I'm not. There's a good 6 or 7 inches from the top line here. So I'm about down to here in this still, or a little lower. That's like I always tell you, it's got to be full enough to where you don't give it a bunch of vapor, a bunch of space for the vapor to expand, but you've got to be at least 2/3 full in your still, just for safety reasons. Now, I also save my tails, and I pour those in. This is the tails from the last run. I pour those in. I've got 2 quarts of those tails. Then I've also got 1.5 quarts of apple pie that I'd left the cinnamon sticks in for too long. I'm going to dump that back in. Now there's one thing you need to make sure of when you're adding in moonshine to your pot, and that's to make sure your proof down, your total mash that you've got in and the moonshine you add in is below 40 proof. If not, you stand a real good chance of having a bad day. And you don't want that. I don't want to see anybody on here get hurt. Those were the 2 apple pies that I poured in were already proofed down to about 60. By the time I add them into my mash, it's going to be way below that 40. So I'm not worried about that at all. The tails are below. They're down into the 60s as well, those 2 tails, and probably lower than that. I didn't put a hydrometer in them. But by the time they hit the mash, I only added a little less than a gallon of that stuff in here in my 10-12 gallon of mash that I've got in here right now. So, you know, just be careful about that, but it's super important that you make sure when you're adding in distilled liquor back into your pot to rerun it, that you proof it down below 40. So the 3 things to remember: you want to be 2/3 full. You don't want to be all the way full. And you want to make sure that everything you're putting in that pot is proofed down below 40. Hope this helps. Shine on.